Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Riley's Talk. So today I have a special guest. He goes by Woo, but that's what he likes to be called. But his actual name that he actually goes by for real is Woo Wop the Bam.
The Woo.
The Woo. He prefers the Woo. So again, like I say, we have an interesting show today. We're gonna dig into a little bit of politics, especially from the the black male perspective. Just different things about politics, what's been going on for the past, really just more so about the past week. I ain't gonna go back into the election because me and him talked earlier. The election's done. It is done, and there's only one way to go from this point out. And it is what it is. So this episode is brought to you by my sponsors, Team 4. It's a group of ladies that I work with. What we do is we buy, build, and develop, and that's what we do. So, but let's go ahead and continue the show real quickly. So let me go ahead and introduce you to the Woo.
Thank you. Welcome me for. Thanks for inviting me out to Rally Talk. I appreciate it. I happen to have a different perspective coming from South Florida down there when we were down there, and what I've noticed down there in part of Florida is that there's a racial tension that's down there that's been developing.
It's for real. It's
yes.
not just not.
Yes.
It's for real. This is not just we talking shit.
No. At my job, I actually witnessed this guys walking around in camouflage with American flags, preaching.
They got the Confederate flag as well too.
No, just
it's none of that.
No,
okay.
No. They just had the American flag, but with camouflage suits on, riding bicycles, marching with a wagon, actually with speakers preaching. And this was all up until the election. Once the elections stopped, or once they had the election, it settled down a little. But I still do see them walking around with the same fatigues on and the flag.
So the main topic of our show today is this. Like I said earlier, we have the election happened November 3rd, right? So as of right now, I think it is 306 Biden electoral votes and Trump like 223 and 236. I'm not quite sure off of Trump, but he's well behind. Plus, he's about 7 million behind in the popular vote. So as we all know, Trump has went this whole election fraud thing, and of course you have a bunch of people following him behind it, saying that the election was stolen, especially in the state of Georgia. I did this in another video. If you notice, Trump does not contest any state he won.
No,
not at all. He's not going to contest any voter fraud. Only states he lost. But that's the type of dude we're dealing with here. Now, if you know me personally, I've always said that I'm not a MAGA, I'm not a Trump supporter by no means at all, but I deal with him. There are certain things that he, from time to time, does okay on. But that's another story. As you can see, the Woo, he just looked at me kind of look crazy real quickly, but the topic of the show today, is there violence coming? So I'll let Woo go ahead and take it over from here, and then I rebuttal.
Be honest, I would not be surprised. First of all, based on the United States of America is built on violence. And in order for them to continue the status quo, it's going to be violence going to be needed. Because what has happened is actually what has happened is America's afraid. America's afraid of
what?
Of the change that actually came upon America. Their slip is showing. Everybody sees America for exactly what it is. They don't even want to buy their way out of it. Like, in order for America to get the things and to get the equality that we actually need, it needs to be, and I hate to bring this word up, is the reparation. Their idea of reparation was $600.
Well, that wasn't reparations. That was.
But that's their idea.
I guess. I'm paraphrasing here, so I guess I kind of get what you're saying. So, if that was their reparations for everyday Americans, so what is it for black people? 300?
Exactly.
Because, that's exactly what happened. We talked about this earlier. So, this little goofy-ass stimulus we all got.
I took the money, though.
Yeah, Right.
Let's be honest. I took the money.
We all took the money. If you afforded it, we don't know who could afford it, what have you. Because there's a lot of people out there that didn't get it. There's a lot of people, especially African Americans, There's plenty of people out there, African Americans, Hispanics, what have you, that make over $75K a year. So if you made over $75K a year, you didn't get it. Now you can add a few things in there with your spouse and kids and stuff like that, but overall, $600.
And in Florida, in the area that I'm from, in Pensacola, Florida, $600 will pay for 1 month's of rent.
Now, I'm from Chicago. We both from Chicago, actually, but that's where he lives at now. I'm from Chicago. Chicagoans. What the fuck is he talking about? I mean, what? I mean, $600 is going to cover maybe a car note. That might not just cover the car note, but if you got a good car note, let's just say about $350, $400. After that, what are you paying? Maybe the insurance, maybe the phone bill. You definitely not paying your rent. You're definitely not paying your mortgage. None of that's getting paid. What we starting at for the most part? On the low end, a 7-piece maybe? $650 at the bottom I'll go. But you telling me that y'all can get an apartment down there, for $500, but where? Where and how?
Well, and you can get a trailer. Now, I'm not talking about high end. I'm not talking about Park Avenue. I'm talking about Park Bench, Pensacola, Florida. But I'm saying it can be done. All bills included. I know several people that live in a trailer down there. It's a 3-bedroom trailer with water, heat, and lights included, and it's only like $600.
And $600 they in there. So I mean, I feel that. So for some people, like I said, we all, if you got the money, I don't care if you did or not. If you got the money, we'll take $1 if somebody gonna give it to us. Especially if you got kids. So that's $1,200. You got 3 kids. You a single parent, single mom, single dad, what have you. You got 3 kids. So what's that? $2,400, something like that.
Yeah.
So that right there, it's just like I'll take that. Now me personally, this is why I kind of was fucking with Donald Trump at a little bit. From day one, Trump was already asking for 2 stacks. Now, 2 stacks not a lot. But at worst case scenario, it was not a slap in the face.
No.
You can do a few things with $2,000. I don't give a fuck how bad your bills is. You can do a few things with that. You can get your head from over water. You can do a thing. But $600. So Donald Trump, one downside of him losing, for those that wanted him to lose, was he was the one that was negotiating directly with the Congress. He wanted $2,000. This was not an election ploy.
It was all, even if he was serious, it was still theater. He didn't have the capital. He didn't have the clout. He didn't have the power. He didn't even have nothing to negotiate.
So if you've seen one of my other videos,
yes.
why Mitch McConnell is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with him.
The same policy is the policies that Mitch McConnell is producing or bringing up. That's what's at stake here. That's what the election is about. Is that going to be the face of America? Where does that go? And it goes back all the way back to the Civil War that we had.
I've been saying that for the longest. I've been saying I don't give a fuck if you white, black, Hispanic, what have you. I'm gonna bring this up in a little bit, but when we get into a couple of different parts. But I've been saying that the Civil War, as long ago as it seemed to us it was, what are we talking about? 1865 it ended. We in 2020. I'm not a math whiz here, so what's that? 160 years. The Civil War never ended. Now it might have ended slavery. It did that, but there's these concepts of states' rights. There's this concept of, I think the news that brings us into our primary point. Is there going to be violence? This violence will be a civil war, at least the way I look at it. Yeah. It's going to be a civil war, but the civil war is going to be a little bit different this time. You're going to have urban versus rural. It's not just Trump versus everybody else. It's not just conservatives versus Republicans.
It's not just white
or black. It's the big one is rural versus urban. So there's 2 different Americas here, and a lot of people don't know this. So from my time in the military, my time in the Marine Corps, I definitely did meet a lot of guys, black and white. There was a couple of guys I met from bumfuck Mississippi that their life is totally different, rich or poor, from those of us that live in Chicago, Miami, LA, New York, what have you.
Actually, down in Florida where I'm at, I'm confused because I keep meeting a whole lot of hood country motherfuckers, or a lot of country hood motherfuckers. and what I'm saying is they hood, they're country, and they're hood, but they have country values.
Okay, you know what's so funny about that? a couple of years ago, off the subject real quick, but a couple of years ago, I'm watching Gangland on History Channel. So they had this gang in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm thinking to myself, Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what they did or how they do it, you know the one cultural thing that they kept, regardless of what they was into it about, regardless of who they killed, on Sunday, they had to go to church.
Yeah, they went to church.
They had to go to church.
Yeah.
That was like, this one dude got arrested. He's like, man, look, y'all can bring me back later. I did what I did. Can I go to church for this last time? So I found that funny as hell. But yeah, I think there is going to be violence. The violence is going to come down between urban versus rural. I'll use a state like Texas. Now, don't get me wrong. Texas have a large population. They really do. And they got 3 of the biggest cities in the U.S. Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas. But a lot of North Texas is very rural. This is ranchers and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. If you understand politics very well, especially the people who actually go out and vote, it's not your city folks. If all the city folks got together and voted every year, go ahead, Rob.
If the only way the violence is gonna come, but the violence has to come to the doorsteps. Who? And the doorstep that the violence is gonna have to come to is whichever side it's come. I believe it's gonna come from the far right. You know, it's gonna have to be right there at the steps of DC. It really
can't happen.
That's where it's gonna. That's where it has to happen. It doesn't have any more meaning. If we go bring some violence down in Florida, it has to have the impact.
What about your state house? What about the Florida State House?
It doesn't have the. They don't have enough. In order to get the change they want, or to keep the status quo as it's going, they're gonna have to bring it straight to the White House.
I just can't see it. Excuse me for a second.
No, I can't either.
I can't see it making its way to the White House.
You might get some sporadic, but and your thing of violence
my thing of violence is actually
right.
I look at it a little bit different than you. My thing of violence is number one.
I'm not talking about the gun. See what I'm talking about. I guess civil unrest would be a better word.
No, I'm talking about violence. I'm talking about straight violence that's coming into a theater near you. Now, where's that violence gonna come from? We don't 100% know, but definitely let's start in Georgia. So for those that
you're Georgia, you're right in the area that I'm talking about here. The Georgia, the Alabama, the Mississippi, and the Florida.
Look, everybody that knows me knows that I am not a fucking fan of like down south style living. Nothing personal. I eat the food. You know, I still go down south from time to time. That's where my roots are from. But politically speaking, I'm not a fan of down south because, as he said, like down in Georgia. So it might not come to Atlanta, but it'll come to a big city I can think of. It comes to Savannah.
Well, what I'm saying is, in order for it to have, there's not going to be no unrest and fuck your first cousin, goddamn Florida. The unrest has to come to the areas where they're having a problem with, which would be the urban area. So that means
So you telling me, I kind of agree with this, but I kind of don't. So you telling me the country boys are finna bring their ass?
That's what they would have to do. That's
okay. So you changed my perspective. So I think violence is coming. Don't get me wrong, but it's not coming to the major urban areas. You know, he said it best. So Pensacola, whatever little country town down there, and all of them. Now, granted, one thing they do have, they got more guns, and I'll give them that. They're more trained in them, what have you. I ain't gonna say they got more guns, because guess what? A place like Miami is going to have more guns just on the simple law of large numbers. That they have no choice. But for there to be a significant change, especially what we underline talking about here, overturning the election, you're gonna have to bring the big guns down to the Atlantas. You know, those of us who live in Illinois, so those that live in, let's just say, Carbondale, they gotta come to Chicago, because Chicago, you know, is in droves. So I don't see that happening, but I see a lot of skirmishes.
Yeah, I can see the skirmishing. And the bottom line is this: we're fighting about the money. We're fighting about the money, the status quo.
It's a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, it's always going to go back to the money, because the reason it goes back to the money, because if the $600 was an insult, and I hate to bring this up, this is where the unrest and stuff, that the dis-ease, the discomfort that's happening. The 40 acres and the mule has never been addressed. The reparations has never been addressed. It's all
now that's just me and your thing. You know, me and you being black men. So the 40 acres and the mule and the reparations. But you got to realize this is a big melting pot. So it looks like to me from time to time, it's like everybody else. The Native Americans want their piece.
Everybody else don't have their piece.
Huh?
Everyone else don't have their piece. Everybody else don't got some type of reparation.
So you talking two different languages then right now. We talking two different languages. I understand what you're talking about.
The language that I'm speaking, it doesn't even with whatever the United States does, as long as those policies, as long as those thinking, as long as that has a voice, there's always going to be a discomfort and a dis-ease going on in America, and it's part of ever since the Civil War.
I agree, but everybody feels that they're the marginalized community. Now, some people make me laugh. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. So it's just some people that just make me laugh. Then there's others that have a legit gripe. But you know how many legit gripes are legit gripes?
You and it's going to you said, how does it end? It cannot end until the economical unrest or can be addressed.
So we going to socialism then?
I'm not saying. I said until the economic unrest has been addressed.
So are we? That's the question I'm asking you.
That's what this is about.
Are we going to socialism?
That's what this is about. That's why they're fighting. That's why they're standing up. That's why they're not contesting the election, because that's how some of them feel. That we're going too far. We're just going to give everybody everything. And here's the thing, even with the stimulus package they just gave out, they gave out $600. But to big businesses, they gave a woo-woo. Woo-wop.
Yeah, guess what? You know, Walmart, guess what? When the last little money everybody got, what they do, they took their money and I mean, we can talk all day, shop at small business, and you know, you're the one that decides this for real. But we live in reality here too. So like right now, everybody is shopping on Amazon. Yes. You know, Amazon is the thing. I'm the only person I bought my daughter's Christmas gift off Amazon, but that's just because I couldn't find it in time for Christmas. But overall, I prefer to shop just regularly. But again, I used Amazon that day, and Amazon got all of the money that was flowing. So guess what? Somebody getting $600 right now. They gonna buy a gift for somebody.
You know what?
Amazon is getting $100 from fucking 20 million people right now.
Because and here's the thing that makes this so tricky. You have a far left side and you have a far right side pushing two different policies. Now I agree with the Southerners or this belief that they're pushing fear. They got everybody up here in Chicago. They had everybody standing in the house. There ain't nobody's doing anything. But down
in Florida, y'all
everybody's
outside, right?
wide open.
I'm on my way to Florida probably about 2 weeks. I ain't gonna lie.
Everything's wide open. The money's is out there. Money's being spent. Things are happening. Things are moving. But here, everyone's afraid to do anything. Everything is being done in the house. And it's almost like a fear. And that's what some of the right is afraid of. And that goes into like socialism. Let the government dictate everything. The government says don't come outside. The government said we're going to send you your food. The government said this company is going to do this. The government says you only bank with this bank, you know, and that brings into the money is an issue. It always goes
So somebody, when I was in Marine Corps, somebody told me this years ago. I never knew the reasoning for the Vietnam War. I kept hearing it was about communism, and I just kept hearing a couple of things about, you know, I just didn't understand them. So it was one gentleman, if you ever watched this show, Mark Antoine Harris, he was a corporal in 211. So he told me, he was like, socialism is the biggest threat to capitalism.
Yeah.
And I don't know why instantly, maybe I understood capitalism more than I did socialism, but I understood instantly what he was talking about. I straight out did. I'm like, whoa. So they sent, you know, a couple of American boys. but some of us chose to go fight to, you know what I mean, to defend this way of life of capitalism. You know, that's the life that we defended. So I can agree that when it's all said and done, like everything else in life, it's about the money, even slavery.
Right. Socialism to some on the right side is slavery.
That's a stretch.
I'm to some.
Look. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a.
And capitalism to some is slavery.
I'm not a socialist, and I'm not a pure capitalist either. So I can pick and choose both sides. We got, like in the U.S., we got Medicare, we got Medicaid. We got I'm a veteran. We got the VA. You know what I mean? That's socialism on steroids.
One-on-one.
Yeah, that's socialism on steroids, I guess. You know what I mean? From the good and bad aspects of it. You know what I mean? So I definitely get that. But I just think at the end of the day that it's going to be some violence. But you also mentioned a good point. The violence is going to stop short of a full-fledged civil war. Let me tell you why I say this, too. So we got the far right and we got the far left. So let's go back to the Civil War. Down south, in my opinion, at that time, were the far right of 1860. I ain't talking about the moral aspect. I ain't talking about the moral aspect of it. They were far right. The Union, the North, they were far left. The South, in my opinion, at that time had the overall better army. You know, man to man. But the North outmanned them. Number two, this is what all your intellectuals was. These were the people that understood logistics. These are the people that understood where to put that cannon at and stuff like that. And so nowadays, I still see the same problem happening in a urban versus rural civil war.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, the capitalists still win.
Yes.
Capitalists still win.
They're still the underdog. They're
the underdog, but it's like if you look at, in my football videos, I've learned to look at the numbers. I learned to look at the facts. Even the facts now.
It's a fruitful fight.
It's not only is it fruitful, it's a fucking.
It's a massacre.
The North is gonna lose people. They might lose more people per capita. But just in California, in the northeast of Boston, New York, Philadelphia alone,
the left was set some of its internal differences aside to stomp out the right.
Boy, that's another conversation of itself. That's another conversation of itself. I don't even want to dig into that whatsoever have you. So,
and I didn't mean that just political.
I didn't think you did. I didn't think you did.
And that's
the left got here's the problem. The right got this problem too, but the left has too many competing interests, and so those that so I got two type of people that know me. So you have some people think I'm like a big time. I never tell people how I vote. That's just how I get down.
I lost a relationship because of that.
Okay, so I never tell you, but I leave it vague on purpose, and also it's vague because I am a vague person. I'm just like, really, it depends upon the policy. It depends upon the policy. So a couple of people that know me think that I'm like, this, far right MAGA supporter. I'm not. But I've always said I deal with Trump. So the other people that know me, they say, you're just this liberal.
You're just a strange bedfellow. That's all.
I guess they say you just this liberal. You from Chicago, what have you? You're black. You from the west side of Chicago. You must be liberal. No, the fuck I'm not. Where I kind of like, there's always a point. There's always a dividing line that I say I can't go this far liberal or right. I ain't even gonna get. That's another episode. What I'm really talking about. That's another situation, but it's like I have to cut you off here because I have to be socially conservative right here. But on this situation, just giving away money, just giving it away. So like socialism as a full-fledged form of government, I stop right there. Yeah. The socialism, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It can work in, Sweden, what have you, but at the end of the day, we got a fire ambulance or whatever outside. So welcome out.
They out there, they clowning. They out there clowning. The right wing.
So, no, the right wing.
They on their way.
The right wing is not in my neighborhood, bro. If that shit happened for real, we got a fucking problem. I ain't never seen no right wing walk down 79th Street. So anyway, So like I was saying, it depends upon the issue. I have a cutoff line, and it's right here. There is no ambiguity to this cutoff line. There's no ambiguity, but it's just like, I'm sorry. I don't even apologize for it, but it's like some people I have to tell you, I'm not liberal, I'm not conservative. I can be both.
Even if I don't believe that Trump has the clout nor the power, even if he gave the signal.
Nah, he got it.
I believe McConnell's signal is stronger than Trump's signal.
Yeah, McConnell. That's another show I'll talk about probably later on. But yeah, Trump ain't got that power. Trump is just a...
He's a dead duck.
This is a personal story. I always say that Trump reminds me of my dad. You know my dad, but he just reminds me of my dad. And it's just like, you talk some shit, but when it comes down to it, it's just like, are you really gonna go through this? Like, Trump's gonna fall. He's folded every time over the past couple of months. You fold. We called your bluff, you folded. Republicans, you have folded. Conservatives, you have folded. Y'all keep
you go out. You like
move the goalpost. You take some shit, throw it, and see what the fuck sticks. And nothing has stuck.
So your question is like, you said.
And we're gonna wrap it up here, but go ahead.
You said how it ends. That's where I was going. So how does it end?
It ends in a fight.
I think it ends in a tantrum.
Okay, you can call it a tantrum, but a tantrum amongst human beings means lost lives. We don't know which lives going to be lost. It might be 20 lives lost in some massacre down again in Georgia. So, but that's going to be national news. That's going to be all of that. Nobody wants to be the 20, but overall, from a mathematical standpoint, 20 ain't shit.
No.
20 ain't shit. So, I just think it's going to take, you said it best, a temper tantrum. Because that's what's all going on.
Extreme, like a terrible toddler where the snot's running out the nose and crying and bawling.
It's going to take a temper tantrum. So anywho, that's our episode for today. As always, do me a favor, as all videos, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for tuning to Riley's Talk.
Hey,
go ahead.
Before you go, thanks for wearing the hat.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Team 4, for the sponsorship.
All right. So y'all got the hat on there real quickly. So these are my sponsors for the night, okay?
You can find us, or you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can also check me out on the U. That's UHive, the social media that pay you for crypto.
UHive?
UHive is a social media platform that pays you in crypto. That's another story, though.
Okay. Because you caught my attention real quickly. So, anywho, good night, people.